Recording in progress.
WBZD.
Hey guys, welcome back to WBZD. I'm Ashlyn.
I'm Ryan, you can call me Shen.
I'm Natalie.
And I'm Joyce.
And we're
GT14.
architecture students from the University of Hawaii studying abroad at Tongji University in Shanghai. Today, we're talking all about our summer internships experiences, split between two completely different worlds. Natalie, Joyce, and Shen spent their summer in New York navigating the fast-paced city life, while Ronnie and I stayed back in Hawaii for our internship. We'll be sharing the differences, the challenges, and some of our favorite moments from both experiences. We're actually in the phase of looking for internships here in China for this coming summer, which is why we wanted to talk about internships today. With the Global Track program, we were originally supposed to spend our first summer interning abroad in places like South Korea, Japan, or Singapore. However, because of changes in visa requirements for China, we all had to stay back and complete our summer internships in the US. Hopefully, that program will be able to return to that international internship model in the future, but we're still very fortunate to be able to find valuable internship opportunities. So let's get into it. Could you guys please first introduce where you guys worked and what you guys did?
Okay, so over the summer, I did my internship in New York at a firm called Perkins Eastman, along with Natalie and Shen. A little background about Perkins Eastman is that it's an international architecture and design firm that has over 1,100 employees across 24 studios worldwide. So it's like a really big firm. And the New York City headquarters, which is where we interned at, has more than 300 team members alone. So it's a really big office. One of their most known projects is actually the TKTS booth in New York. If you don't know what that is, it's basically the red stairs you would see in Times Square in New York. Our professor, Clark, is actually friends with Brad Perkins, so that's how we knew about the firm. How about you? Where did you intern at?
Well, I interned at Next Design LCC, which is located in Honolulu, Hawaii. I actually started to work at this firm after I graduated from undergrad, and then I was lucky enough that they offered for me to stay as a part-time worker during my first year of the DARC program. And I loved it so much that I asked them if I could stay for my summer practicum, and they were so kind to let me stay on board. For my internship experiences, I was mainly a drafter, but I also was fortunate enough to work with interior designers and learn how to do RFIs and submittals, and also got to do some designing for other projects. And I know as for Ronnie, he was able to do an internship at the UHCDC.
Cool.
Oh, wow, that's nice. I actually worked at UHCDC before I did my internship in New York, which is a really different experience, but you get a little bit of a different vibe from the two different firms. One is smaller and one is bigger, of course. But it seems like we all had different experiences when we kind of worked on different projects, so maybe we can share what we did. So for me, I worked on 2 small pharmacy integration projects for an existing hospital branch. I mainly worked on the schematic design and the design development phase, so I worked a lot in Revit, doing a lot of test fits for the pharmacies and preparing drawing sets for my team. I actually liked it a lot because I was able to play a pretty big role on this project. Even though I was working in a smaller team, about 5 people, my advisor and mentors usually had to work on larger projects. So I got to spend a lot of time on my own, and I got to handle a lot of the test fitting and the documentation for this project early on. Besides that, I got to learn a lot more about pharmacies throughout this project, and also learning how to work around existing conditions like columns and plumbing and ceiling heights, which is really nice because it helped me with my master's thesis, which is about adaptive reuse. But overall, I really liked how nice and patient my advisors were in Perkins Eastman. They taught me a lot, not only how to work in Revit in terms of collaboration, but also about specific life safety and ADA requirements that we need to consider when doing any kind of design. I honestly feel like I learned a lot and grew a lot as a designer, so I am really grateful to be a part of the project and to have such good advisors.
Wow, that sounds so cool. I know Natalie has a different experience, but they worked under the same firm. So do you want to explain what you did?
Sure. So mainly in Perkins Eastman, I worked with the urban design team, and I also got the opportunity to work with the interior design team as well. I split my time between both teams working with urban design and interior design. For urban design, I mainly worked on concept modeling in Rhino, topography, and sections. So during that time, I learned that bigger projects takes much more time, and a lot of my time there worked mostly on concepts. and it takes longer to see a project be finished. While in interior designing, I worked with mostly color coordinating, diagrams, floor plans, like lights, floors, materials, colors, etc., and presentation slides. And during that time, I learned that being involved with the progress and it takes less time and it went pretty fast. Overall, I really liked my mentors at Perkins Eastman. They taught me a lot more about urban design and interior designing that I never learned in my undergrad. And I got to learn more about myself in the process. Like, I like smaller projects than bigger projects because I was able to see them being finished. So, yeah.
Well, Shen, I know that you had a different experience as well working under the same firm. I think the two girls had more of an architecture experience, but yours was more like a photography experience. So could you share some about that?
Yes, of course. First, hearing about your internship experiences is awesome, and my time at Perkins Eastman was a little bit different. I work with the marketing and communications team, focused on the architectural photography, and I got to work on 8 different architectural projects across schools, offices, housing, and public landmarks, which was a really great experience. So I really want to thank Clark and Vanessa to help me to get this opportunity. My work was split between on-site photo shoots and the post-production editing. For the most projects, I work as a photography assistant on-site and carrying gear and capturing assigned angles and following the lead photographer's direction and the navigation various sites and constraints to get clear shots. For other projects, I focused on the post-processing, like picking base images and retouching details and adding some human elements and adjusting the color and the tone to meet the firm's strict editing and brand standards. The highlight of my internship was leading on the Times Square project, like Joyce mentioned, the tickets booth project independently, from location and scouting and planning shoot and timing to capturing photos in different lighting to highlight the building's design, and finally editing all the final images on my own. It was a fun challenge shooting in such a busy space, so crowded, and the team was really happy with the results, which boosted my confidence a lot. I picked up tons of technical skills. My camera and editing skills improved hugely, and I learned the firm's full image making workflow, from pre-planning to final fills and delivery. I also realized architectural photography isn't just creative, it's a structured part of the firm's work, with photos used for proposals, websites, awards, and more. And collaboration and adaptability were big takeaways too. I worked with photographers, architects, and on-site staff. A lot of different stakeholders on every shoot, and clear, quick communication was key, especially when adjusting plans for site issues on your city's drawing regulations that limited how we shoot. And this rule also tied into my academic research on the curtain wall design, using the tickets booth as a case study to bridge the theory and the real practice. I also used to only see architecture as design and construction, but this internship experience showed me the photography and the visual storytelling are crucial for how people perceive buildings, and they were the stories behind the built environment. And like all of you, I have to see the mentors here were amazing. They're very patient, sportive, and they trust me with more responsibility as the internship went on. Overall, the experience in New York City in Perkins Eastman helped me grow so much technically and professionally. I got better at planning, problem solving, and teamwork, and even discovered a new career path in architectural communication. I'm really grateful for this internship. It made me more ready for future work in design, research, or visual aspects of architecture, and taught me buildings are as much about the team-told stories as the materials they were made of.
It sounds like you guys all had amazing experiences in New York and working under this firm. If you guys don't know, Shen uses photography as his hobby, but he's really good at photography. So I think that's why Clark was able to find him a position in photography. And I think that's really cool to be able to combine both photography and architecture. I know you guys told me stories about some of the activities you did up there. So, was there any fun activities that the firm held for interns?
Yeah, so inside the firm, we had a lot of intern showcases, which happen, I think, every other week.
Yeah.
But in these intern showcases, we basically show what we were doing in the firm, such as the plans that I was working on. And we're able to get some feedback and help with other people in the firm. So it's not just the people in your team, but it's also other people, like those who are not even in the same discipline. For example, I was in the architecture team, but you will also be able to get people that were working on hospitals, give you some input on how to like better develop what you're working on. We also got to do some presentations. I think there was one where we were showcasing what we have done in our school. So Perkins Eastman as a firm really wants to know what's happening in schools and seeing how they could better bridge the things that we're learning in school into the work field. So they really wanted us to show what we worked on. And I think for us, there was a theme that was going on when we were doing the presentations. For us, it was fabrication and how we interpret models and how models can help us better develop concept ideas. For us, we were more focused on the not model making aspect, but being more hands-on with your model making. So for us, we were focusing more on workshop model making, working with wood and how wood functions differently when we're building a furniture. While two other interns focused more on the 3D printing process. So they were really eager about 3D printing, and they really wanted the firm to be more involved with the 3D printing process. And the way that they were selling 3D printing, it made me want to get a 3D printer myself. But they were like really eager and they were passionate about what they were doing with the 3D printers. So that was really interesting. And just getting to know what other people from other schools were learning about was really interesting as well, and how they approach different design problems.
I think that's a good skill to learn is model making, and sometimes schools don't really teach that. So I feel like having that experience in a firm is really cool. Also, just using a 3D printer on its own is pretty neat. I know certain firms don't really use 3D printers or model making anymore, so the fact that they do use that is really cool.
Yeah, and the good thing about the intern showcases is that you don't just get to show your own piece, what you're working on, but you also get to see what other interns are working on, because for us there was like 11 different interns.
Oh wow.
And we all kind of split up into different teams. There was people in the interior team, people in the hospital team, people in marketing, and people in architecture, but we're all doing different things and working on different projects. So being able to see that diversity in the firm and like being able to see what they're doing and how they approach the problem, how they are working with their own teams is a good learning experience.
It sounds like the firm is pretty big and you don't really get to meet everyone.
Yeah.
So was there like a certain firm culture that you experienced or that you noticed?
One of the things I noticed was that they do get-togethers, and so they call it Pauhana. So
We call it
we
Pauhana.
call
you
it
guys
Pauhana.
call it Pauhana, but they call it get-togethers.
No, they
Or-
call it it's the English term.
The English term. Like after work get together, after work party.
Yes, there's a term for that.
There is a term
Happy
for-
hour.
Happy hour,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
yes, happy hour.
So they would get together after work and just drink and just talk together in the big conference room. So yeah, and just like learn more about what each person is working on, and maybe like get some advice from the seniors of how we can improve on our work and how we can approach things and all that.
That's cool.
It was a really good networking opportunity that the firm set up, and our mentors actually advise us and encourage us to go to these events because it allowed us to talk to the seniors or people who were higher up that we might not be able to approach on our own.
Wow.
Yeah.
I still remember that almost every week we had the opportunity to participate in some exhibition or some trade shows and also some lectures by the building material suppliers. For example, the green wall and yeah. So from which I learned a lot about the practical construction knowledge. And we also visit the construction sites which makes me really excited. We're wearing the helmet and visiting the buildings project in different stage. Some are almost finished, some are not, just started, which was very interesting and help us understand what the different stage of projects look like. And I really remember one time we visited a project in Manhattan, but at that moment the weather in New York City was super hot, super hot, and I still remember that. And another thing I still remember is we also did some charity things. Do you remember we
Oh,
draw?
that's cool.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, you can
wow.
introduce that. When we draw some patterns in the bag or something.
Was it like all interns just gathered around and did this activity?
Yeah, to
All
welcome
in-
everyone in
Oh,
the
wow,
company
wow.
to participate in that. Yeah.
So it was basically we got to design. We were drawing on a panel that could be velcroed onto a bag, and that will be donated with the other things inside the bag. It will be donated to an orphanage, and that was a really nice networking opportunity. But it was also like a fun activity to do outside of just work things. Yeah.
Yeah, and from that activity, we can saw we call it social responsibility of a company. It's very important. Yeah, and I feel that kind of activity was really meaningful for us. Yeah, and also very interesting.
Could you guys break down further your guys' typical workday? I know your schedule for the typical week is also a little bit different because they are more flexible with interns and having you guys tour around New York City.
Like on a typical day, it would be like wake up in the morning, go to work, and then traveling on a metro, and just like clocking in and just sitting down, working on my concepts, sections. Sometimes meeting up with my mentors, talking about what I can improve on my sections, my diagrams, and sometimes just like video call with them if they're at a different desk or a different floor level. And yeah, sometimes on Fridays we get half days.
Yeah. They call it Summer Fridays.
Yeah. So we get work off early at like 12 at noon and we just leave.
So basically, for Perkins Eastman, Summer Fridays is where you work an extra hour every single day from Monday to Thursday. And that way you can still make the 40 hours by the end of the week, but you'll get Friday half off. So you're able to spend a little more time on Fridays.
And on every Friday afternoon, I visit the museums in New York City.
that's
Yeah,
fun.
there are a lot of museums there, and so I make a plan. I will visit this one, and this week I will visit another one next week. So yeah, basically I use every Friday afternoon. I spend all the time in the museum, which was really meaningful for me. And yeah, I saw a lot of artwork, not just artworks. Some exhibitions are very cool in New York City.
What is your favorite museum?
Most of the museum I really like is about art. So sorry, I forgot the name of that. Maybe let me check the pictures I took.
Joyce, what's your favorite museum? Because I know you have one.
I do. I really, really, really love the Guggenheim. Like,
Guggenheim.
yes. I think for architecture, or at least architecture students, knowing the Guggenheim section cut is like just ingrained in your mind. But actually being there and actually being able to experience that ramp going up, I was overwhelmed with emotions actually. I really liked how they hang stuff in the center atrium, but also being able to walk up the ramp and getting to experience different areas of the architecture itself was really, it was just touching for me. I was more obsessed with the architecture than the art pieces itself, which is really funny.
I want to share the one I really like is the MET. Yeah, it was a very famous one. And what made me really excited is the first exhibition hall is about the Egypt. So I saw a lot of very cool artworks and historical things before, I think in 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, which make me really shocked. You know, China is also a country with a long history, but I think Egypt has a longer history than us. And this made me plan a journey traveling to Egypt. in the January and February. I fly to Middle East and I travel a lot of countries. And the final destination was Egypt.
Oh, wow.
So I spent about 1 week there, about 8 or 9 days there. I drive a car with my friends and we visit a lot of museums there. A grand pyramid, a grand Egypt museum is a new one, super big, and we saw a lot of exhibitions and the mask of Tutankhamun's, and yeah, super cool things there. And I really thought the civilization of Egypt was super fantastic, but the people's daily life now was not as good as before. So I really hope the Egypt people they can have a better life and as their ancestors, and I hope I can visit Egypt again because due to the time limit, I visit only the west part and the south part of the Egypt. But I next time I will go to the east part to experience the diving and the very beautiful sea part of the Egypt.
I feel like you travel like all around the world. It's so cool to hear all your stories. We're always texting Shen. It's like, where are you this time?
Natalie, do you have a favorite museum?
Oh, I would actually say the Guggenheim as well. Because I like the ramps going up and it's very different than any other museums that we've ever been to in New York.
That's true. I know you've been to New York as well, Ashlyn. Do you have, it doesn't have to be a museum, but is there a favorite architecture or a favorite place you have in New York?
I don't think I have a favorite place per se, because most of the times when I went to New York, I'm mainly going for the Broadway shows or a concert. So I never really had time to tour around the city. But I kind of like Times Square, the busyness about it and just being able to be in like the showbiz area. It's pretty interesting and how it can accommodate so many people. But it is a little bit scary sometimes, but I think it's just a really nice place to see.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience compared to Honolulu because of just how much people there are.
Yeah. And it's so different from daytime and nighttime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think to go back to the beginning, I kind of interested in wondering how you guys found the place to stay, because I know New York is kind of a hard place to find somewhere to live and kind of expensive as well. So how did you guys find some place to stay? Where did you guys stay? Was it like travel time long?
I was fortunate enough to have family friends and living in New York. So they were living in an affordable housing complex in Lower East Manhattan. So I was living pretty close to where we worked, which was in Flatiron. I just took the bus every day. It took me about like 20 minutes. Usually when we're looking for places, it was difficult because I didn't know I had family friends there until I asked my grandparents. But we were trying to look for a place to stay, and a lot of the options came from Airbnbs, Zillows, but it was mostly renting out singular rooms where you're sharing a bathroom with someone and you're sharing an apartment complex with someone who owns that place. So it was it was really difficult, and the pricing wasn't that good. It was like pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know Natalie was able to find a place to stay.
So not like Joyce being fortunate enough to have a family friend staying there. I do have an aunt that has a friend there, and she recommended Facebook, and she was able to contact somebody in Queens, Sunnyside, Queens, and I was able to stay there for maybe like not that pricey, but still on the pricier side. And I just stayed with her for like the 2 months that we were there. But towards the end, I stayed with my aunt's family friends. So because I was house sitting for them for that 1 week, they were out of town. So I was fortunate enough to have my a room and like my own bathroom.
Oh, nice.
For
And
myself.
how far did you live in Queens?
From Queens to the Flatiron that we worked at was 30 minutes.
Oh, not bad. That's not bad at all.
Actually, I live in the Newport, and it's part of the
New Jersey.
Jersey state, and that area named is Jersey City. And I found this information via notebook, so actually a lot of Chinese students they use the notebook although they were in United States. And so I can find a lot of relative information, which was useful for me. So I can I asked them the price and the position. So I really focused on the view of the home, what I can see from the view. So, and I found a really good one, and I contact with the student, and he was about to leave, so he asked me. He told me, "Yeah, you can come to live in my roommate." And I have a one roommate, who was also a architect.
Oh.
And was another thing really convenient was the metro. So I only take the pass, only 3 stations, so I can arrive at my company. So it takes me just 20 minutes or 25 minutes, so I can
super
arrive to the
fast.
office. Yeah,
wow,
which was
nice.
very convenient. But when it was rainy or some bad weathers, it would stop and delayed. And so that was not a good experience. But
So I'm assuming you got stopped a couple times.
yes, and I remember it was a fire happened.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
In the past, yeah, because it was really old metro station, and when I wanted to complain about it, I thought, oh, it was really old system, so it's okay.
Can I ask how much you paid for that unit?
And it's about 2,000 1 month. It's not bad, yeah.
Not bad, but not good.
Yeah.
Mine was on a little bit cheaper side. Mine was 1,500 a month.
That's close to Hawaii's price, I feel.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that in New York City was more expensive than Hawaii is the house. And I mean, for the food, we can find a cheaper one. And for the haircut, we can find a cheaper one compared to Hawaii.
Oh.
Especially in Chinatown. If I want to get a haircut, I can find really cheap one at about $15.
Wow,
But
that
in
is cheap.
Hawaii, I need to pay at least 20 or $25.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So did you mainly stay in Chinatown area for food and activities, or did you go somewhere else?
No, I can also find food on the in Jersey City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and sometimes I will cook by myself, but really rare. I will get food with my friends, some Chinese friend living in Jersey City. We know each other and during the travel.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, they also work and or study in New York City, and we can communicate and eat together. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite food place?
Maybe some Chinese restaurant, but I cannot remember the name. But I think I prefer Chinese food in New York City. But it was expensive actually, so I cannot eat it every day. But I will try to eat with my Chinese friend because we can try more food if we were a lot of people eating together.
I think one funny quote that Shen has told us when he came back to China or when he went to New York was that he lost a lot of weight when he was in New York
Yeah.
and he's ready to gain it all back when he came back to China.
Yes, and you know that the food in China was much more cheaper. It means you use the same money, but you can get more.
You're right.
Yeah, and for me, I have a Asian stomach, so I really like Chinese food and Asian food. And in Shanghai, we really have a lot more opportunities to try different food from different countries, and even from different part of China. So I really like the food here, and I hope that you can enjoy the food in Shanghai. But after the summer, we will come back to Hawaii. So I really want to try more food before I leave China. And also, I hope you can enjoy the food with me, so you can have more different experience of different foods here. Yeah.
Did you try New York pizza? I know that's very popular in New York.
Yes, I tried that, but I'm not sure which one was the best one. But I tried a lot of different kind of pizzas. For me, I cannot really taste the difference from them. Yeah, they were very similar for me. But I think the very fun thing is that although we were Chinese people, but when we travel to America, we still want to find some food from our homeland, and yeah, and we can talk with the the chef, the owner of the kitchens, the restaurants, and they can tell us their stories. So it was another very interesting part when we're eating in the Chinese restaurant.
That's cool. Natalie, do you have a favorite restaurant or place to eat or your favorite food?
Favorite place would be me and Joyce would go to Flushing a lot, and it's closer to Queens, and they have a lot of good Asian foods there.
It was super cheap, but
Yes.
it's just a little far for me because I lived in Manhattan. But it was so worth the ride there. It was really cheap food for a really good price. But in terms of New York food, I have a couple places that I really loved. For pizza, it was Lindustry. I don't know how to explain it, but their pizza was so good. I tried different pizza places, but I think that was by far the best. I went to the one in Manhattan and the one in Brooklyn. Both were so good. And then in terms of bagels, Apollo Bagels. I went there
sounds really good.
yeah, I went there 3 times, and I keep thinking back about on their salmon bagel. So good.
That does sound really good. I love lox and bagel. Did you guys go to any musicals?
One of the musicals that I really wanted to go to when we were there was Hamilton.
Oh.
And I got to see it firsthand. Had to convince Joyce to go. But there were most of other musicals that I wanted to try and go to, but didn't have the chance to. But Hamilton was one of the bigger ones that I really wanted to go to. So I was able to get to go to that one.
It was really lucky to live in New York City. It means you have a lot of opportunity to see this musical in person. And some of my friends, they even meet the actors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and talk with
That's
them.
so
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah. But for me, I'm not a really a big fan of the musicals. But I know that for the New Yorkers, there is a culture for them to enjoy the musicals on weekend or after work.
Yeah.
After work, so yeah, it is part of the culture in New York. I think it's a really important part for their culture life there.
Maybe it was better that I didn't go with you guys to New York because I would have spent all my money on watching musicals and it would have been really bad, but I would have loved it.
Yes.
Ashton, I will go with you.
I know
will go
Ronnie
with
would
you.
have been there right with us too.
Yeah.
We would just have to convince Joyce along the way.
I mean, I'm down to tag along now anytime.
We watched Matilda here in Shanghai. How was it different than watching a musical in New York?
I would say one of the things is the place was pretty big. It was bigger than the ones that we went to in Matilda, because Hamilton is popular and also the pricing is a lot more than what we paid for Matilda. A lot more.
But I also think it's the audience culture or how people acted in the audience. It's people didn't really talk.
It seemed more like a high class.
Yes. Yeah. Whereas in Shanghai, we could hear people talking. People were
Right.
getting up in the middle of a musical, in a musical piece. They were standing up, going to the bathroom. People were on their phones. It was just a completely different experience. And I think in New York, I didn't notice anyone that were on their phone. Everyone was pretty focused on the musical itself. But then when we were in Matilda, I just see a screen go on once in a while, and I'm like, oh, okay.
But I feel like the production quality for Matilda was very similar to what you would have seen
Yeah.
in New York. So it was really nice to see
Yeah.
a musical here.
Yeah, I like both. So, Ashlyn, we talked a lot about New York, but how was your experience somewhere in Hawaii? Is there anything you did outside of the internships that you did on your free time?
Well, I guess one thing I started doing at my free time was actually going to cycling classes.
Oh,
So I went with my friend and we did soul cycling classes. So it's basically where you're on a stationary bike and you're kind of dancing to music while you're pedaling on a bike. So it was just kind of our exercise that we did maybe twice a week. But I think I was also offered to go to New York with you guys, but I chose to stay home because I feel like when I was in undergrad, I definitely missed Hawaii. And when I came back to Hawaii, I met some new friends and I absolutely loved just hanging out with them and also being home with some of my long-term friends from the younger times. So I think part of me just couldn't give that up to just go away for a summertime. And I absolutely loved my internship already at the firm I was working at. So I just thought it was perfect for me to just stay home, save some money, And maybe it's better I did because I'm spending a lot of money here in China.
I think that's what maybe like a valid reason why you didn't want to go to New York is because we've been in Hawaii for our undergrad. So we really wanted to just go out and explore, put ourselves out there. And I guess a really big takeaway for me was just being able to go from a small city like Honolulu and then being able to go visit a big city and work there, live there, and experience the different vibes you would get from two places. Yeah. And then I know you did your undergrad in Texas.
Yes.
So do you think you had the same like experiences that we had in New York going to Texas? How it's like from a small city of Honolulu going to, I don't know, Texas, that's like a bigger state.
I feel like I had different culture shocks than what you guys experienced in New York, only because Texas is more bigger, I feel, so it's not as crowded as New York and it's not more hustle and bustle. People are pretty laid back over there, and I was further away from the city, so I was like about an hour away from Houston area, so I was kind of in the middle of nowhere. So that was kind of an adjustment coming from Hawaii, where you can drive to the city in 30 minutes and you're in everything is around you. So not being able to like go to a grocery store that's 10 minutes away was a hard adjustment for me. And I feel like that made me realize that I liked to live in a city or close to a city.
I visited Texas, I think in May last year to see the Starship with my friends. And he's also a Chinese student studying there, and he owns a pickup truck. So I think it's kind of local culture in Texas.
Yes.
People, they like driving.
They love trucks. They're big trucks.
Because the price of the gas is cheap there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so we drive and to the star base and to see the Starship there. And I found in Texas almost everything is big, and you need to drive a very long time to the place you want to go. And also we visit Houston, and there's another two cities, I think.
San Antonio.
Yeah, San Antonio, and another one.
Austin, Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. Yeah, I visit all the cities there with my friends. So I like the Texas, and the weather is hot there. Yeah, but the experience to see the Starship is very unforgettable, and you can get very clear to the Starship. This was my experience, and I hope I can visit Texas again. Yeah, and I know that Ben was also used to study in Texas.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get Ben on the podcast and he can share his experience. I think it would be pretty cool to hear that too. I know you guys went to a concert as well.
Oh yes, we went to the Enhypen concert in New York. I think that's what I really like about New York, because it's such a big city. A lot of artists go there for concerts. And while we were there was actually a Blackpink concert.
Oh wow!
A Stray Kids concert, ATEEZ concert, and Enhypen concert. And it was just so overwhelming. There was one time I went to Flushing just for food, of course. And on the streets, I just see someone wearing a red like jersey. And I was like, that looks like a K-pop idol jersey. So I asked them, oh, are you guys going to a concert? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, whose concert? And they're like, it's Stray Kids.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, oh, that's so cool. It's just so nice. Like, the people in New York are really nice. They're so happy. Like, they might seem cold on the outside, but then once you talk to them, they're really happy and they're really like enthusiastic about what they do, and they like to share. That's what I liked about New York as well. And I also liked how everything is so walkable in New York. Like, although there's like really tall buildings, everything is in pretty close proximity within each other. So there's a lot of things to do in New York City and a lot of places to go. And that's why I used a lot of the summer Fridays to explore in Manhattan, because everything's so close by. You can just walk there if you wanted to, but we usually take the subway.
Nice.
I also didn't realize how many steps I took while in New York, because it was like around 20,000 steps per day.
Per day, it's insane.
Per day, because
I think that's for the weekends, not really for the days that we were working.
For the days we were working, yeah, no, because I was traveling through metro and subways. But yeah, weekends, like, it was a lot of steps.
Another very funny thing I remember in New York City was that people they would ignoring the red traffic lights.
Oh, they were jaywalking? Like
yeah,
walking
yeah,
across.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember there was a joke that the white light means and you can go right, and the red one means go quicker. and when I was in the Washington D.C., I found local people. They seem that they following the rules better than the New York people, and because I went to Washington D.C. with my New York and photography friends together, and when we see the red traffic lights, we continue going, but the local people they just stand there, and we just noticed that this is New York City, this is Washington D.C., not New York, so we need to follow the traffic rules.
I think when we were there, we end up walking a lot, no matter where we go, just because of how convenient the subway is. But I remember because you talked about walking 20 plus thousand steps in New York. There was one time where we were crazy enough to walk the Manhattan Bridge down to Brooklyn.
Oh my God.
And then from Brooklyn, we walked Brooklyn Bridge back to Manhattan.
Oh my gosh.
It was insane, and I was exhausted by the end of the day. But we had pizza at the end, so I was happy.
And I'm sure it was hot too, right? Because it was summertime.
No, it was a lot cooler than before.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's
Because it was towards the end, August a little bit.
It was starting to cool down. a
Yeah, it
little
was
bit.
starting to cool
Yeah.
down.
It was not bad.
There was wind. There was at least wind. There was wind.
Still sweating, but not too bad.
Did you guys sometimes feel like you walked because the metro was too expensive, or what did you guys think about the metro in general?
There were times where I was debating whether I should just walk back from the firm to where I was living, because it was around like a 20 to 30 minute walk instead of taking the bus. But there was times where I did that because I wanted to grab a drink before I walked back, but also the weather was pretty good. So there was one time I walked back because I wanted to grab a Haiti.
Oh,
I waited an hour for that Haiti.
Wow.
Insane, but still got it. And then I was walking back and I was walking through this park and I saw fireflies.
Oh, that's
which is,
so cool.
Yeah, it's like a surprising like event that happens when you're not underground in the subway or you're not just in a bus and scrolling on your
Right.
phone. So sometimes just walking throughout the city is really nice and you get to see more.
Did you guys think that the metro was busy? Was there like rush hour times?
In the morning, there's a lot of rush hours. There's a lot of people, but towards the end, it gets a little bit calmer. And then once work ends, it also gets a little bit more crowded.
Honestly, now that we're in Shanghai and we actually experience the rush hour here, I don't think New York is that bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Over here, it's like you're basically up against each other almost.
Right, yeah.
Not as bad as Tokyo, but I think in New York, there's still a little bit of personal space.
Yeah, another culture shock for me in New York City was the fare evasion. I mean, someone they will take the subway without paying, and some of them they will even make a video of that.
Yeah.
But in China, I think people will not do that, and yeah, honestly, the ticket is cheap here. But in New York City, I can find a lot of people they just take the subway without paying. I saw it many times, and also in not subway, not just subway, also the bus system. The people they also the fare evasion is common in New York City, and I don't know how to value it, but for me I was student, so I just follow the rules and yeah, I will not do that. But this is different. But in China, you can see that almost everyone they will pay.
I think
don't-
that is
don't
a big
know.
difference.
Yeah.
Because China's expense to go on a subway is relatively cheap, so I feel like people are more willing to pay for that. Versus in New York, it is hustle and bustle, so people are trying to just make ends meet. And the costs to go on a metro is significantly more expensive than in China, so it's harder for them to pay every single time they go on, which is kind of leads them to not paying. But I know they're trying to stop that with implementing different systems of how to get to the metro now. So they're trying to stop people from just allowing them to hop over. But I think if there was a way to kind of meet in the middle, then it would probably be better and more people would be willing to pay. But as of right now, yeah, I think it's just so common that certain people just hop over and just take a free ride.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys found interesting or exciting about New York?
Me and Natalie went to a lot of food festivals.
Oh, wow.
We found out that it's actually a lot more pricier than we expected.
Oh.
But we did get to try a lot of street food, and it was a really interesting experience. I think there was one that we went to that was an Asian food festival, and it took up an entire street, but it went through 3 or 4 different blocks.
Oh, wow.
So it was huge. There was a section for Japanese food. It's a section for Filipino food. I think there was a section for Spanish food or something like that. But it was nice to get to try a lot of different foods and get to experience the festivities, I guess,
How did you guys find out about these food festivals?
through Instagram.
Oh, cool, yeah.
It's kind of like how we use RedNote here. We were using a lot of Instagram to find out what's happening in New York City, if there's any free events that were happening. I don't know if we could think of a free event. Oh, there is one. Usually on the first Saturdays or something, museums are open to the public for free.
Oh, wow.
So we took advantage of that and went to a lot of museums on the first of Fridays or first of Saturdays. I forgot which one it was. But yeah, I think that's when I met Dorothy, like the owner of the place that she was
Yeah.
living at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she was living with this elderly lady named Dorothy, and she was really nice. She was actually an urban planner.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. New York is actually filled with urban planners and architects, which is really nice because you get to see a lot of like the planning happening. And she was explaining why certain buildings were shorter in Manhattan compared to other places. And that's because of their soil,
Oh, yes. Yes.
which was really interesting. And I probably wouldn't learn that if it weren't for meeting Dorothy.
I forgot to ask you guys when we first started, but was this your guys' first time going to New York City?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
I think so, yeah.
Wow. So all new experiences going there. So did you guys go to like the Central Park? Did you go Statue of Liberty?
Yes. We basically try to hit all the like touristy spots. I think Central Park was when we went to the Met Museum.
Yeah.
And then we tried to walk Central Park down from the Met Museum, but it was just too long. It was so big. But so we just walked part of it, and then we ended up busing the rest of the way back to Times Square. But I think one thing that also shocked me was the amount of tall and skinny buildings there were compared to Hawaii, where we still have like tall buildings like condos and things like that. But these were like super skinny at the top. And I know that it's like Billionaires Row. So, but it was really nice seeing it like outside the computer, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Louis Vuitton scaffolding building?
Oh
the one that
my-
looks like suitcases.
God. At first, I actually thought that it was suitcases or like they built it that way because I've seen it all over social media and Instagram and the pictures look real. But once you get there, it's just scaffolding and a wallpaper and it doesn't look like anything whatsoever over an existing building. So like it was just disappointing, honestly.
You know, there's a shape of Louis Vuitton in
Yeah.
Shanghai.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this brand, this company, they really like to build some attractive things.
Yeah. Super unique
Yeah, and
architecture.
people they can take pictures and share it in Instagram and social media.
I know GT15 is actually on their way to start their internship soon to going to New York. So do you guys have any advice?
I'd say just enjoy the trip and to whenever you have the opportunity to explore New York, just take it. Take advantage of all the free things that are happening in New York and go to a lot of the museums because you'll get to see a lot and it's a pretty good experience overall. So, yeah.
I would just say if like you find the time, you can travel a lot to other places because there are some places that we didn't get to go to that I kind of wanted to go to. Just like find the time and just travel and just explore the city while you can for the 2 months that they're there.
Shen, do you have any advice for people going to New York?
And you can try to save money. So yeah, you can have a better experience if you have enough money. For me, maybe in the future after my graduation, I will try to work 1 or 2 years there But it's not easy to get a work, even an internship opportunity there. Almost all the Chinese people I met to tell me that, and it's not easy to get an internship there. So I want to see we were lucky enough to get the opportunity to work there.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your guys' experiences in New York. It all sounds like you had so much fun and got to see so many different things. That's about all the time we have for today. In this episode, we talked about what we learned through our internships and what it was like living and working in places like New York City and Honolulu, and comparing the two, experiencing the difference between a smaller city and a much bigger, fast-paced city. A lot of those experiences helped us understand architecture in a new way outside of school. So in our next episode, we'll keep that going and talk more about architecture and urban planning in Shanghai. If you work at a firm that would be interested in hosting future GT students for summer placement, please reach out directly to Vanessa at vworks@hawaii.edu. That's VWORKS@hawaii.edu. And we would be happy to review the program guidelines.
If you wish to continue to follow our journey, please follow us on Instagram at global_track_architecture. And if you have any specific topics or questions, feel free to leave them down below in the comments or email us at globaltrackarchitecture@gmail.com. And thank you again for joining us today. We hope to see you again soon. Tschüss!